Buckle up for a new episode of Bumpaholics, the one and only podcast made to teach on all stages of the arrival of a baby. You're sure to learn from our experienced doulas when you listen to Bumpaholics. The following media content is intended to only be an educational reference guide and should not be taken as a substitute for medical advice. While KC Women's Ministry adheres to strict self-set guidelines, any advice, instructions, or information found within this media is not intended to be a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. KCWM makes every effort to broadcast correct information. We simply present the views based on evidence-based information. We welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. We are not sponsored by drug or device companies. By listening or viewing this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others, including but not limited to patients that you are treating. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast. Under no circumstances shall KC Women's Ministry, any guests or contributors to the podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of KC Women's Ministry be responsible for damages arising from the use of the podcast. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of Boob Talk. I'm Brittany Brownell, certified birth and bereavement doula, certified birth photographer, education director, and volunteer with KC Women's Ministry, mother of three, soon to be mother of four.
And I'm Madison Hobbs. I'm also a certified birth and bereavement doula. I'm also a trained postpartum doula, a baby wearing peer educator, and I am the doula director and a volunteer with KC Women's Ministry.
All right. Let's jump on into this video and start talking about various storage options for specifically breast milk. This is not formula related. We will do another episode on how to store formula. This one is specific to breast milk that has been expressed, because of course we're not going to store it if it's in the breast. It's just already stored.
It's just there. Your breast does a very good job of storing the milk for you and keeping it fresh for baby at all times.
It's
Don't
amazing.
even worry about that. It's wonderful. It's like this built-in invention. It's just great.
You got a built-in refrigerator and heater right there. It's great.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So when you first express your breast milk, it can actually stay at room temperature for a few hours. It can stay anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, depending on how cold the room is.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing, right? Like,
I think it's mind-blowing, because you think about any other kind of milk and you leave it sitting out for 4 to 6 hours and you're like, I don't trust that. I
don't want to touch it.
but breast milk, is coming fresh at your body's temperature. It's coming out already just a little bit warmer than room temperature anyway, so it's not cold warming up. It's already there, which is why it can last so much longer.
And it has all of those natural antibacterial and antiviral properties that helps keep it from going bad, helps keep it from developing an infestation, so to speak, of bacteria. And it helps keep it from curdling. It has all those good properties in it. It probably won't even separate. If it does separate, no big deal, just swirl it back together. If it's in a bottle, shake that puppy up. It's not going to hurt it.
Yep. And there has been information out recently. I know that I've recently found out, because for a long time I was taught only swirl breast milk, do not shake it. And they recently came out with information that it is okay to shake.
Yep, I read that, a couple articles on that actually. They put it in a what's the medical shaker thingy, like
a centrifuge.
Yeah, centrifuge. They put it in that, and it still didn't break the bonds and chains. So whatever shaking you're going to do, you're not going to meet the centrifuge by any means. Shake that puppy up as hard as you want. It's not going anywhere.
A lot of times we've talked before about the composition of breast milk. You've got that foremilk and the hind milk, and it'll separate out, and you'll get like a layer of fat up at the top. And you certainly can feed without mixing it up. There's nothing wrong with that. But what ends up happening when you're feeding from a bottle is that fat that's on top, as the bottle tilts, will continue to stay at the top. So then you're only getting this foremilk, and then the fatty milk is sticking to the bottle, and it's not actually being fed, which is why we recommend mixing it up so that baby actually gets that fatty milk just as much as they're getting the foremilk.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me, if it's a really cold room like mine is right now, I mean, I'm literally shaking.
Oh,
I know, I was thinking I grabbed a sweater before I got started, but if it's a really cold room, you could probably leave it out longer. You can smell when breast milk starts to go bad. Unlike with other types of milk, you can smell them, but sometimes they don't smell right even at the beginning. So smelling them,
especially formula.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Formula smells bad at all times, so it's hard to tell when it's gone bad because it started bad.
Yeah, but breast milk, it doesn't do that. So you can really smell when it starts to go bad. So smell it before you feed it to baby. Smell it before, you can even taste it yourself before you feed it to baby. It's not going to hurt you. It's just milk. But you can really tell when it's starting to go bad, especially if you've left it at room temperature for a little while and you're like, I don't remember if this has been 6 hours or 8 hours. When did I last pump that? I don't know. As a breastfeeding mom who made a lot of milk, and I had a hakah like everywhere. Sometimes I just have a hakah here in the bedroom, and then I'd have another hakah downstairs full of milk. I'm like, mom brain is real. Postpartum brain is real. You forget when you pump something.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
But yeah, if it's a little bit colder in the house, it can definitely last closer to that 8-hour mark. For the most part, it usually won't last unless your house is literally an ice box. It usually won't last out on the counter beyond 8 hours. They typically suggest 6, even if it is cooler, just in case. But again, that smell test is really easy to do.
Oh yeah, smell test is super easy. In the summer, I'd say lean more toward the 4 hours. But in the winter, you can extend that just a little bit, especially if you live in a really cold place.
Yes.
Not like Kansas City, which is mildly cold compared to some places, but it's really cold. Right,
but it's not. Yeah, it's definitely colder in other places. It got up to like 45 today.
Yeah, which is why some snow is melting. Yeah, great.
That's crazy.
All right. So once it's sat outside in room temperature, not outside, you want it inside in the house. But once it's sat out at room temperature, I'm guessing your house is anywhere from 68 to 71, 72 degrees. That's normal. You can put it in the fridge.
Yep.
Put it right in the fridge. All right. It's been 4 hours. It's been 6 hours. I'm not quite ready to use this yet. I'm just going to put it in the fridge. It's not bad. Don't worry. It's totally fine. Put that puppy in the fridge, and depending on if it's by an open door space. So if you're opening the door a lot, it's going to lose some of the coldness in the fridge quicker than if your bottle is in the back of the fridge. So your placement is going to matter, but it can last in the fridge anywhere from 3 to 5 days.
Yep. Yeah. Again, and it also depends kind of on the temperature that your refrigerator is set to, because sometimes fridges aren't set quite as cold. So there are guides online to know, which temperature it can last the longest. But again, if you're not sure, do a smell test. It's a very easy go-to. But yes, 3 to 5 days. If baby has not drank any. If baby has drank some already, it is a little bit different. The time changes. Typically, they say breast milk is fantastic because you can refeed breast milk. So let's say you made a 4-ounce bottle, baby only ate 3 ounces of it. You can put that out back in the fridge for another 24 hours. and then refeed within that 24 hours, that 1 ounce.
I would not mix it with fresh breast milk because then you have to toss out the fresh breast milk, but you can feed that 1 ounce and then feed a new bottle.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because it can only be refed once. So let's say you have that 1 ounce and they only drink half of that 1 ounce, you have to throw it out. And if you mix it with fresh breast milk, it's all mixed up. You can't just be, if they don't drink it all, obviously if you're doing just a 2 ounce bottle and they drink it all, then great, it's good. But it's much safer if you're not wanting to waste any of that breast milk, which who wants to waste breast milk? Just feed
gold, man.
And then do another 1 or 2 ounce bottle of that fresh milk, because then if they don't finish that fresh milk bottle, again, you can put it in the fridge and refeed again.
Great milk. I love it.
I love
it. So we've been in the fridge. It's been about 5 days. I haven't quite gotten to this bottle yet. No big deal. Put it in a saver bag, or if you have plenty of bottles, you can put that bottle straight into the freezer. Now, again, it's going to depend on the freezer. If you have your milk on the top shelf, it's not going to last as long as it would in the deeper parts of the freezer where it stays colder longer. But you can keep it in that freezer, in your standing upright freezer, for anywhere from 6 to 12 months.
Yes. It's very important when you're putting milk in, honestly, anywhere. I always, when my nanny kids, were drinking breast milk, I always timed and dated the bottles, whether they had eaten them or they were sitting on the counter or they were in the fridge or whatever. I always made sure that they were labeled. My best friends were Scotch tape and a permanent marker. And it is especially important if you're putting milk in the freezer, because the smell test isn't going to work if it's frozen. You would have to thaw it, and then even still, it might not be accurate because it's thawed.
It's been frozen. It has a slightly different smell to it. Sometimes a frozen breast milk develops a lipase. Not a big deal. It can change a little bit of the taste, but it definitely changes the smell a little bit. Some babies don't respond well to it. Some don't care. They'll drink it right as is. If you do have some lipase, there are some steps you can take. We can talk about that in another video. I don't have the steps right now. It'll make this video way too long. But if you do find that your breast milk is sensitive to lipase and starts to develop that when it's in the freezer, check out how to remove it, how to prepare it for the freezer so that it doesn't do that. They do have lots of resources online about that.
And then we were talking about the upright freezer, the kind that is attached to your fridge in your kitchen. If you are a typical Midwestern family, like most of us are, and you have a big, deep freeze in your garage or anywhere, but this is just what the Midwesterns do. We always have a big, deep freeze in the garage.
Mine's in the basement.
There you go. If you have a deep freezer, milk can last between 12 and 18 months in the deep freeze. Because
amazing.
It's incredible. It's so much colder, and you're not opening the door near as much as you are the one in your kitchen. So again, if frozen in your fridge in your kitchen between 6 to 12 months, and just like with everything, if you're getting to like that 6, 8, 9 month range and you still haven't used it yet and you're worried that it might go bad, throw it in the deep freeze and it will last between 12 and 18 months in deep freeze.
But yes, 12 to 18 months in the deep freeze, which is amazing. I mean,
incredible.
Yeah.
That's a year and a half. I mean, if you're freezing milk from when your baby, let's say you're breastfeeding at 18 months, that breast milk's going to be good when they're 3.
Yeah, which means your baby, even if you stop breastfeeding at the breast, you can still provide your baby with breast milk. You can put it in cereal. You can put it in their oatmeal. You can put it in other things. They can drink it straight.
The muffins, their cookies, anything you use milk for.
That's right. You can just substitute the breast milk for it. Now, that's not saying you want to give it to them like a ton because you will have a limited supply, but you could still give them a decent amount. You can give them 8 ounces a day and barely make a dent in your stash. If you're talking, you have an entire thing full of it. But
yeah,
you know, you never know, or you could donate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and on that subject, breast milk is wonderful for all ages. You don't have to stop giving breast milk just because either you stop breastfeeding or you feel like they're too old. I've seen lots of families where they incorporate breast milk into their baking. You know, they make cookies every Sunday and they add a little bit of breast milk to it, even though the kids are like 5, 6 years old. Because it has so many great properties, even for us adults. All the adults in your family can benefit from those too. The antiviral and the antibacterial and just the antibodies that are just what makes breast milk so wonderful is
It's
beneficial
amazing.
for all, not just children.
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing thing.
It is.
So what do you do with your breast milk when it's out of date? You don't have to throw it away.
No, there's so many fun things that you can do. You can make keepsakes. There are companies out there that will turn your breast milk into powder. They'll dehydrate it and they can make jewelry. They can make diamonds. They can make cards. I think I've even seen like the breast milk powder made into paper. Like they somehow
how
add
cool.
it into the pulp. And I don't know how you make paper, but social media is a crazy place where you can see all sorts of things. But I've seen so many videos of people making paper. Yeah. And one of the companies I've seen actually adds breast milk so that you can write, a poem to your baby or a love letter, or, you can have something special on this piece of paper that was made from your breast milk. It just blows my mind.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. You can make ointments with it. So add it to, if you're someone who makes ointments like I do, I make salves and creams and all kinds of stuff. You can add it to your salves and creams. Make sure you follow the process properly so that it doesn't spoil, because creams made with milk products. But you can definitely put it in salves and creams and use it for healing properties that it has.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is take a milk bath with it. Put it in your bath, put it in your baby's bath. If you or your baby are showing any skin irritations, a sunburn, maybe you have hives or eczema, or it's
the winter and you're super dry and cracked.
Mm-hmm. Put it in your bath. Sounds really weird, I know, but you're not going to drink it. Yeah. It's not worth, you don't want to throw it away. It's still good milk.
Use it. Yeah.
You can warm it up so that it doesn't make your bath cold. Just stick it in the warmer, just like you normally would if you give it to a baby. Have your tub at the whatever temperature you want it at. You can still put your Epsom salts in it, and then pour the milk in, and then go soak and soak up those properties, those healing properties.
Yeah.
So
there's so many amazing things, and even you can do any of these things with breast milk at any time too. These are some great ways to use breast milk that can't be fed. But even let's say, you have a large stash, or even if you don't, you just have some milk spare, or you want a keepsake, or baby's got some really bad eczema and you want to do a milk bath. No one said that it has to be milk that can't be fed, or milk that you didn't just express, or you can even hand express milk right then and there and use it. You're in you don't even have to go through the process of fully pumping and getting a bottle and storing it and whatever. Just hand express them right in the bath.
Yep. That was how I cleared up my baby's cradle cap. We just sit in the bathtub, I'd squirt some milk on it, fresh, mind you, straight from the tap is what I like to say.
I love it.
Massage it on, let it soak there, take my little comb, brush their hair out, rinse it, put some more on there, smoosh it around some more. And then I would usually finish up with some coconut oil and then wash that out with baby shampoo. And by that time, there's no more cradle cap.
Love it. It's amazing.
It was great.
Breast milk is magical.
Oh my gosh.
It really is. And
Yes.
yeah, there's just endless possibilities. We could do an entire video just on what you can do in the bath with breast milk, like not even any of the rest of it.
Right. Well, I think that concludes all of this wonderful information for how to store breast milk, at least for this video. And we will jump into some of those other topics that we mentioned in some future videos. So I really hope you've enjoyed this particular episode of Bumpaholics. You can find more information about our organization at kcwomensministry.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. It means the world to us that you have spent your time with us. Bumpaholics is available on YouTube and wherever you can get your podcasts. If you haven't already, send us a comment. Let us know what questions you have and what things you liked in our video. What things do you relate to? What did you do with your baby? How did you store your breast milk? What was your favorite? But so that you don't miss any of our future episodes, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, like this video. But the subscription is what's going to tell you every week when we have a new video come out for you to watch. We love having you here. So thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.